And today we are going to look at making video GIFs, which are super fun and not overly complicated. You have all the resources at your fingertips here. One thing that I want to do is first show you some videos that I recorded, because you want to start off with the right recording. So I'm going to be asking you to submit two GIFs, what I would call a positive GIF and like a negative GIF. So in other words, like one that's like a celebration or a thumbs up or something like that, and the other that's like, or like thumbs down or like no way or something like that. So, and I think that you can do, I mean, it doesn't have to be yourself. It could be an animal or a cat. Like if you get your cat and you have them, you know, off screen, if you're holding a little piece of food and you get them to go something like this, then you can use that. Let's take a quick look at one that I have recorded. I've done a few of them, but I just want to give you some tips and tricks about recording them. Let's do a share screen here. Yeah, you get my face up front and personal early in the morning. Well, maybe it's not that early, but so it's 3 seconds long. This is the video I took. I just did it this morning. Of course, this is us winning because the Jets swept Edmonton last night. I was inspired to do this kind of like a little GIF. So a couple of things to think about. Number one, I actually just went with a simple background. And so I looked around the classroom and I was like, okay, where can I get a shot of this where I don't have a real distracting background? And you'll see when you do the GIF, you're not even going to think about that background. So what are some options? Well, leafy green trees is kind of a nice background, something that doesn't draw too much attention to yourself and is not too busy. So don't think of leaves as busy. It's more like a pattern that's sort of like nice and pretty. Grassy background, or just a plain wall background, or something that just doesn't draw too much attention to itself. And then don't think like, oh, I'm just going to take one shot and then go and do it. These are only 3-second clips. Shoot a bunch of these and then come back to it. You know, like shoot a bunch and then look through the videos and see which ones are the best. You don't want, although we can trim stuff off the front and the back, you don't want to be dealing with much handles. You don't want to have a whole bunch of extra stuff on the beginning and the end. This is pretty much my GIF right here. It's very close. Okay, so that is, as far as the building block is concerned, that's kind of where you want to start off on. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to take you to our web browser, and in here, I've looked through a number of GIF creation sites, and this one doesn't require any login. It doesn't require anything. You just go to it and start, and that is easygif.com. And so not only that, you can actually do this entire process on your phone. So you don't actually have to have a desktop. Now that said, although this process is very similar on the phone, I have found that it is a little clunkier. It's a little trickier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the video to GIF here and go to that tab, and I'm just going to choose my file. And here it is. And then I'm going to say upload video. So taking a second here. So here's the video. Do you guys like that? Is that intense? Any comments? Come on, I did a good job there, didn't I?
That's pretty good.
Thank you, sir. So what you'll notice here is this is 7.64 megabytes. I don't know the MI. Mega. I'm used to megabytes or megabits. I don't know what the I is there for. Regardless, it's huge in terms of, I think that's 4K. It's in 4K right now, 30 frames per second. It's too big. So we're going to trim that down. So the very first step, and by the way, it kind of goes in order here, the way we operate. And you'll get used to the way that this goes. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say original or the sizing. Well, I'm going to shrink this size down to 500 wide by whatever it happens to be in auto. And frames per second, well, it's 10 frames per second. I like the 10 frame per second feel. Right now it's 30, so we're going to get rid of 30. We're going to get rid of 20 frames per second. We're going to dump them, so we're down to 10 frames per second. And over here, I'm going to optimize for static background. So this is just going to, we're just going to start trying to shrink this size. So I'm just going to convert to GIF. Now, this is our output window here. And if you don't like it, you just change these settings and say convert to GIF again. So there's my output GIF. This is that the 10 frames per second. You can see it's gone from 7 down to 2. I'm just going to go down to 7 frames per second. And then I'll even go smaller to 320 by auto and convert this. So now we are under the 1 megabyte. That's sort of my target, is to get under 1, and so that is a good size there. Now we can sort of carry on. So we kind of ignore this, and we're going to continue working with what we've outputted here. So now I'm going to say crop, and this is where you can decide what part of the video you want and don't want, and this is going to shrink it as well. And you know, people like these real intense in your face kind of GIF things. So then I'm going to say crop, and it's gotten even smaller. That just means it's going to load faster and stuff like that. At this point, I probably don't need to optimize too much. Let me optimize it. You can go through that step or not go through that step. So it's shrunk it, so it's really tiny now, 276 kilobytes. So I did my crop. I didn't have to resize because I shrunk it down quite a bit. I don't need to rotate it. I've got my optimizing. I don't feel like reversing. I can go to my effects now. And one thing that often is nice, I don't know if we have a vignette. There's all these different little effects. So I can, again, click on vignette and say apply selected. And I didn't like that. So I'm just going to turn that off and say there's no effect. So I just kind of went back. I didn't really like it. You know, you can try some of these types of things. There's a fade in, fade out, Gaussian blur, etc. You just apply them, and there's a timer. I don't need that, so I'm just going to turn that off, and I'm going to go back up here, and I'm just going to say I don't need any effects. But then I'm going to put text down, and this is where it's a little bit confusing. So actually, this is a 3-second GIF, which means it's got 30 frames because it's 7 frames per second. So that means it's 21 frames. So there's your 20 frames right there. It actually lays it all out, and it goes, where do you want to put the text? So I'm going to say we won, or I'll just say yes. So I'm going to start right here. After 1 second, I'm going to say yes. Maybe say yeah. And I'll put my font size, crank it up. I'll say set. And it says this is going to be from frame 7 all the way to the end. So I'm just going to take this and go like right there. Again, if I adjust and I press set, put it right about there. I mean, I guess I could put it up there, but maybe I'll come down a little bit. Right, like that. And then, so that begins on frame 7, which happens to be 1 second, and then it's going to stay. So it says, what frames does it occur on? 7 to the end. Now I can change that if I want. There's your font, all your different little controls. Obviously, it's a lot of it is designed for quick and easy GIF creation. So I'm going to create this. And now you've got your sensor things. We've got some overlays you can do. If I go to cut, that's right. Let me click on. Oops, I got rid of my text. I'm just going to put that back on because I liked it. 7. I'm just going to type in. Yeah. Font 45. Now, the reason that disappeared is because I did not come back here and say create GIF. I gotta create that GIF, and then I'm gonna ignore what I did before, and I'm gonna start to work with this GIF. I'm gonna say cut. And so we've got 20 frames, and this is your cutting options. So I can start on frame 4 if I want, and go to frame 20. So it'll eliminate some of my. It eliminates some of those first few frames. And I like that. Actually, I kind of like, I don't need the other stuff. I get right into the emotion of the moment. At this point, I feel like I'm pretty much done this GIF. So I'm just going to say save here. And it is now downloaded that GIF to my downloads. Let's see if I can. And I'll put that, I'm just going to put it on my desktop so I can share it with you. So as soon as I said save, it just downloaded the GIF. And so now that GIF, you can save it on your phone, and so that it's in your file. So you can basically just say insert, and it'll work and play. So let me try it. I'm going to come back here and go into my chat, and I'm going to put a little attachment. Okay. I'm just going to stop the recording now.